Is the cat out of the bag? And what big changes can we foresee in the gold price, in the silver price, in the platinum price as we head into the coming months, quarters, and years? I can easily see a $2,700 per ounce price for gold in 2024. You know what that'll do to the silver price, but why? That's the big key question. What's changed? Well, let's start here. The summer of Barbie and Taylor Swift is over. And now in the United States, we got quite an economic hangover that's getting ready to hit us. But the big news has to do with the Fed and inflation. We recently got a big uptick in inflation numbers. On an annualized basis, it would run over 7%. But why is that such a big deal? You might be asking. Well, it's a big deal for the silver market and the gold market and the platinum market, because when we got those huge inflation numbers, we didn't see a big drawdown in the general markets. We didn't see the Dow drop by 2 or 3%, which we would have expected and would have been the case in the past. We didn't see the 10-year bond yield take off or the U.S. dollar take off, which would have been the case in the past. And are you wondering why? One more thing we didn't see when we got those high inflation numbers, we didn't see the price of gold or silver drop precipitously, which definitely would have been the case in the past. But why? Why, you may be asking, and why is this a new dawn, a new paradigm for the silver price and the gold price? Well, let's talk about why it's different this time. Wall Street knows, the Wall Street insiders know, they didn't sell off the market, and now we know. The problem is that despite the fact that we have this rising inflation, the insiders and the market know that the Federal Reserve has pretty much been neutered or neutralized in terms of what they can do in real terms to fight inflation. In the past, they would raise rates like they did over the last 18 months, and that would kill the price of silver and gold. But that's no longer the case. But why? Why? Well, here's why. Because they raised rates at the fastest pace ever over the last 18 months. They shot all their ammo. And now we are in a situation in the United States where our banking system is on life support. The consumer, which makes up 70% of the U.S. economy, is on life support. Many of the big corporations, mid-sized corporations, and small corporations that were living off of a zero interest rate policy, right? Borrowing money to finance their businesses are now faced with much higher interest expenses when they're forced to refinance their debt. They're called zombie companies, and you guessed it, they're on life support. If you're looking to buy gold, silver, or platinum, do yourself a favor and check out Pimbex, the online precious metals bullion dealer and sponsor of Ron's Basement. I was a happy customer before they offered to support the channel. You'll find they have the best prices, quality, and service. I think Pimbex is best, and you will too. And be sure to tell them that you're from Ron's Basement. What about our government? Well, it's doing great as long as it's allowed to spend $1.4 trillion more per year than it brings in revenue. I think it's safe to say, finally, that they're on life support too. So, as the Fed now faces rising inflation, they don't have any real tools they can use to fight it, because guess what? if they raise rates further from where they were now, those 4 categories we just went over that are all on life support, they could all easily implode. So congratulations, silver, gold, and platinum investors. You are in a new day when the market is waking up and realizing inflation's not going anywhere. Actually, it's going up, 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 and interest rates can't be raised much further. Now, I'm going to warn you, we're going to get all kinds of interesting messages out of the Fed. They can be very creative with their BS, but the bottom line is, and it's not just you and it's not just me who's waking up to this right now, it's all just a bunch of smoke and mirrors from here on out. They'll come up with all kinds of interesting terms to describe what they're going to do to fight inflation. But the real meat is raising interest rates, and they can't do that. So be prepared. A lot of talk, a lot of, we like to refer to it as verbal diarrhea will be coming from the Fed. But the market participants are waking up to the fact that inflation is going up, and one way to protect yourself, historically, the best way for us to protect ourselves is with precious metals. You've likely already bought yourself some precious metals, maybe some silver, maybe some gold, maybe some precious metal mining stocks. It sure feels like we're heading into an era that's going to be super supportive for the precious metals. Hey, look, I'm not a financial advisor. I'm not giving you financial advice. I'm telling you what I see, what I believe. Don't make any decisions based upon anything that I'm telling you here. But when I look at the big picture, when I look at the forest through the trees, I see that there's a pot of gold and a pot of silver sitting right there inside that forest. It's going to be interesting to see how they handle everything that's going on. Don't forget, also, we're facing an energy crisis in this country. Did you know that our strategic petroleum reserve has essentially been drained? That's all the oil that the United States saves up in case of emergency. Well, guess what? Over the last 14 months, that reserve has pretty much been exhausted. It's like at a 40-year low right now, at a time when oil prices are skyrocketing all around the world. And let's just factor in geopolitical issues that are happening right now. We know the BRICS countries are separating from the West: Brazil, Russia, India, China, South Africa, plus 6 more: Saudi Arabia, the United Arab Emirates, Iran, Egypt, Argentina, and Ethiopia. Those countries make up a lion's share of the world's resources, a lion's share of the world's oil. Do you think prices are going to be coming down anytime soon? Not to mention, there's a concerted effort throughout the world, recognized by big companies, even like Goldman Sachs, to de-dollarize. The world wants to move away from the dollar. All of these inflationary pressures, combined with the fact that the Fed just doesn't have any real ammo left with which to fight inflation, make the outlook for silver, gold, and platinum very, very positive. Hey, if you enjoyed this video, I talked in a little more detail about this subject in yesterday's live stream. You can see it here. I'll put a link up. I hope you do well, and I'll see you soon.